Hi students, we meet again. Okay, now we are going to continue with SPM trial for 2022, and I'm using Selangor paper 2 set 1. So just now we already discussed about paper 1, right? Now we are going to continue with paper 2. So I hope that everyone is ready. Okay, be ready that so that you can see clearly how I am going to go about with paper 2 this time around. Yeah. Okay, now for your information, paper 2 carry marks is 60, whereby they have 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. And each part actually gives students 20 marks each for the essay writing. Okay? And everyone knows that in part 1, they're testing students on their email writing. Second part is on guided, and the third part is on extended writing. Alright, so without wasting our time, let's proceed. Okay, right now, let's look at the first part of the question. Now, in this part 1, this is an email actually received by Lina, who wants to throw a surprise birthday party for John. So if you could see the question here, the names of the characters that you need to, the names of those people who is involved in this email is already mentioned. Therefore, students, please use the names given in here. I actually do not advise you to come up with your own name, because unless the question does not give any other names, then you can use yours. But other than that, just use the names given here. Alright, so there are 3 people mentioned. Okay, Lina, and then John and Hafiz. So if you were to understand this email, Lina is actually sending an email to Hafiz, giving some ideas to throw a surprise birthday party for John, their friend. Okay, and in this email, Lina basically is informing Hafiz that John's birthday is coming soon, and she's planning to organize a surprise party for him. And she's also asking the venue where should they have the party, suggestions on what kind of food would be best served for John and the guests. And she also would like to have a suggestion from you, the best way to send the invitation to everyone, the guest. So basically, the thing that I have ticked here, the first tick here is the task that you need to do, that you need to actually mention in the answer. The second tick is the first question that you need to answer, the place where should we have the party, and then what kind of food would be best served for him and the guest. And number 3, suggest the best way to send invitation. Okay, alright, now this is merely testing students, their SAFAR level at A1 to A2. So students do not spend too much time on answering email. Keep it to the amount of words that you are supposedly to write, which is 80 words. Okay, and I would advise you as well, count the words after you have written them, so that you know your limitation of writing. Okay, now let's answer the question together. I have always advised this to my students many times, and I already mentioned to them many times. When you were to write an email, this template will be given to students. Okay, the template will be given to students. So don't worry about, you have to come up with your own template also. So the template is given, and students are actually advised to put here to write the email address of to the person that you're going to reply. So for this particular email, Hafiz has to reply back to Lina. So lina@gmail.com. Subject, surprise birthday party for John. Where do I get the title? Title is actually from the question, surprise birthday party. You can come up with your own title if you want to, but if I were you, I'm not going to waste my time, because this is only 1 hour and 30 minutes, so you don't have so much of a time to write too long, or to take so much time of trying to crack your head what is the suitable title for this particular email. Okay, and This is what also I advise my students. If you see that the email sent to you started with dear Hafiz, so what you can do is you can put hi Lina or dear Lina. It's up to you. So you don't have to think so much of planning, coming up with very extravagant introduction or greeting to your email. Okay, right? Okay. Do you want to see how I answer the question? Okay, let's try. Can I make the screen smaller a bit so that I can scribble inside here? So because you have started off with hi, dear Hafiz. So here what I'm going to do is, because you are going to answer going to reply to Lina. So hi, Lina. So I'm going to use capital letter so that you can see clearly. Okay, Lina. So you look at the first question. If you were to answer back the question here, John's birthday party, I plan to organize also. If you still want to ask about his condition there, that is up to you. You can just say, hi Lina, how are you? Okay. Straight away, answer the question that you have asked Hafiz just now. The first question was, where should we have the party? Okay, so you can just say that in my opinion, I think that we can have the party at whose birthday is this? At John's favorite cafe. Okay, what's the name of the cafe? Okay, come up with your name. The Dome, for example. Okay, the Dome. See, you have already answered where John's favorite cafe. Alright, second question. What kinds of food would be best served to him and guests? Okay, I feel that we can have spreads of sandwiches. What else? Desserts. Cold drinks for the guests. I will do special cake. So here, spreads of sandwiches. Okay, for the guests. Cold drinks. See, you already answered the second question. Birthday cake. Right. What was the last question? Can you suggest the best way to send invitation to everyone? Okay. I feel that we send invitation to WhatsApp or digital. See, you give actually two options of inviting WhatsApp. Is it wrong? It's not wrong. It's still correct. See? And the last one. So when you want to finish it off, I hope that I have helped in solving. I have helped. See you at the party. Take care. Who was the person who wrote this one? Hafiz. so that you can see clearly. You see, the most important thing that you need to understand is that, you know, when you answer email questions, students, we are looking for answers that is very direct to the point. And the question is, the three questions that were being given to the email was, what food, where, the venue that, you know, suggestion of a venue, food that is suitable to be served to the guest, and then how do you send the invitation. So if you see the answer that I have shared with you here, I've already given you the name of the place. It's just that I make it a little bit more a bit better by providing the name of the restaurant, which is a place where John really liked food. And then I will give a list of food that is suitable to be served, and I also have given an idea of how the invitation should be sent to the guests. So this is how you do it. Okay, see, and if you were able to come out something like this, so I think that this you might get full mark because you have only answered the question. And the sentence structure written here are all very simple, direct to the point. This is an everyday language that we use among our friends, okay, and it's very, very clear cut, no going around the bush whatsoever. All right, so this is how you actually answer question for email. Isn't it easy? It's quite easy actually. Okay, all right, now let's go to the second question. Now the second part of paper 2 requires students to answer and to write an essay of 125 to 150 words. So 125 to 150 words, students do not have to worry because this is what we call as a guided essay. Now a guided writing, it's a little bit easier for me because I feel that the students are actually given the situation, okay, which that you can use actually for your introduction, and students are also given bullets of required answer in order for them to be able to answer the questions given. Okay. Here we are talking about part-time job, and I feel that students actually know what they want to do after they have completed their SPM. While waiting for the results, they definitely want to do part-time jobs. So students can comprehend this particular question if it is given to them. So suitable part-time jobs for teenagers. So if students were to give 1 or 2 suitable part-time jobs for them to do, then it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as it is suitable. Okay, the benefits of having a part-time job. What do you get? What will be the advantages? Okay, that is another word that you can use. How to ensure it does not affect one's study. So if you were to do part-time jobs while you were still studying, especially during school holidays, you want to do part-time jobs because you want to look for extra money, extra income. So what you need to have schedule, you need to make sure that you prepare a timetable. If you were to work during the weekends, you don't take night shifts, probably take the day shift. Those are the things that you can actually include in your answer. Alright, so like what I did with my students in class most of the time, it's just that I do like brainstorming sessions with them. I use this kind of table so that when they do brainstorm, they can actually prepare or plan how they want to go about with your writing. Okay, let's try to. Can I make the screen smaller so that I can scribble inside? Okay. Now, if I were to brainstorm suitable part-time job for teenagers, some of you would like to work as a cashier at supermarkets. Okay. Some of you probably want to work as waiters or waitresses. Okay. Alright, some of you probably want to work at shops will become like will to become how do you put that? The suitable ones. Suitable material for the movies. Probably they want to do uh, they want to work at they want to become clerks probably at a shops, malls, handphone shops. We just do clerical works and so forth. Okay, some they like to do that. But if you feel that your students cannot give more than what they can, so what I just do is I just wait to cancel those. That's all. So don't worry about you know you have to crack your head and find three suitable part-time jobs for teenagers. No, it's not that. It's up to you. You have to remember this question is only asking students to write 155 to 100. Okay, but brainstorming is very important. Trust me, because once you are able to brainstorm, usually brainstorming will help you when you want to plan your writing. Okay, all right. Benefits of having a part-time job. So you learn to become you learn to be responsible in planning own financial. Okay, so some people they learn to be independent. Okay. Some students when they work part time, they actually they appreciate. Sorry, they learn self discipline. Self discipline. Learning self discipline means you're talking about time management. And sometimes it does have to do with one's characteristic builds characteristic. See, that's characteristics. Understand? So later, teachers in class, you can actually help the students to when you are going to do this later, then teachers will also help the students to learn new words, new phrases, and so forth. Okay. How to ensure it does not affect one's studies? So you plan your timetable. Sorry, prepare a timetable. When you talk about preparing timetable, so you plan your working hours. Okay, let me make it a little bit bigger. Alright. See? If you talk about cashiers at supermarkets, probably you can just give like a few examples. Working in Giant, working in any supermarkets where it's not only you become cashier, some of them they become they help to arrange things on shelves and so forth. If you want to become waiters and waitresses at cafes, they learn how to. Sometimes they are given the privilege of become the cashier at the counter, or they can if you work at a cafe, you learn how to make coffees, you learn how to serve to your guests, serve to your customers and so forth. So here, actually you can talk a lot here, so many things. And whatever that you have put here can be related to here. So if you were to work as a cashier at a supermarket, you're also learning to be responsible in planning your own financial. So what if you get your salary or your pay every month, at the end of the month? So what are you planning to do with your financial? You want to save it up, or you want to use it to buy books and so forth, revision books, you want to pay for your own tuition, for example. Okay, and when you work when you earn your own money, you also learn to be independent. Are you going to be depending on your parents all the time, or you know how to, not to be too dependable on your parents? Therefore, you learn how to self-discipline yourself by, through time management, and at the same time, it builds your characteristics. Okay, and to ensure that it does not affect one's studies, remember this: when you talk about part-time jobs, meaning you are still a student, and you are just doing this just to get the extra money, right? Because it's not enough. Some parents, they don't give like pocket money. I mean, monthly pocket money to their children. So some parents, they want their children to earn their own income, so that they want to teach their children how to, to earn their own money, okay, and to be independent. So here, when you talk about a timetable, you plan your working hours, like what I mentioned just now. So if you were to go in shifts, you will take night shifts or you take day shifts. So you, as a student, you need to know what to do as a teenager. Okay, so that's how you do it. So always brainstorm. So this is what actually I do in class. And whatever that I'm sharing with you right now is not something that I create on my own. It is something that actually I do in class with my own students. And when I give them this table, usually I don't give them tables. So I just tell them what to do. I just scribble on the board and make them see this is what they have to do. And these are actually the questions from the 3 bullets here. Okay, so definitely students are not going to be out of control. We are in a very controlled situation and they know what to do. Okay, all right. So for my students too, I will actually encourage them to write 5 paragraphs, where in the first paragraph, students actually encouraged to write an introduction, mentioning the keywords in the situation given. So what I will always ask my students to do is take back the question here and use it as their introduction. So if they were to change certain words, then they will change their pronoun. So your class will become, my class has been talking about getting part-time jobs. So my teacher has asked us to write an essay about it as our homework. So what I have really changed here is actually the pronoun. Okay? Right. In the second paragraph, students are supposedly to explain about from number 1. This one, suitable part-time jobs for teenagers, only in paragraph 2. So my advice to you is not to put so many examples. 1 example or 2 examples is just enough. Okay? Not too long. You have to remember this is just 125 to 150 words. When you go into paragraph number 3, you are answering the second prompt. So the second prompt is the benefits of having a part-time job. Students, you have to remember like this. As a teenager, you actually know what is suitable part-time jobs for you yourself. So same goes with the benefits. You actually know what are the benefits when you are doing a part-time job. But probably you will have problems later to answer this question: how to ensure it does not affect one's studies. So I did not give more than 1. I just give you 1 because sometimes we don't see the effect of it. We just see the money that is coming in, that we get every month. We are blinded by that. So definitely students at one point when they write their essay, they are going to be a little bit less, they will give a little bit lesser, especially at the last question. Because this is something that we actually don't do. And most students, I think, they don't do this. They don't bother about how to ensure it does not affect one's studies. Definitely. Okay. Now when you answer paragraph 4, you are using the third prompt. The third prompt is this: how to ensure it does not affect one's studies. So if you're so worried, teacher, if I write very short, to ensure that it does not affect one's studies, teenagers have to prepare a timetable by planning their working hours and not taking the night shifts because the next day they have school. Okay, you might say that the sentence structure is a little bit shorter for you. For some students who like to write a lot. But if you were to give that answer in your essay, it is enough. Because why? It is really answering the question. You just want to see what actually you do so that it does not affect your studies. Prepare a timetable. So this is actually a vocabulary, a word, a normal situation, and everything that you do. Okay? Alright, and paragraph 5, my advice to you is to write a brief conclusion, personal, your own personal opinion. So in your own personal opinion, do you think that teenagers, should be allowed to do part-time jobs? Then it's up to you. Should be allowed or not? If they were to be allowed to do part-time jobs, therefore they have to prepare a timetable to ensure that it does not affect their studies. So you can actually take back the bullet number 3 as your closure. It might sound a little bit repetition, but it is still answering the question. Okay? Because the question is only in these 3 bullets. That's all. Why do I want students to have 5 paragraphs? So that they will have a very nice fix. And writing an essay is just like a complete body of the human. You must have the head, you must have the body, you must have your legs. So this is actually how a good essay, a nice essay should look like. You have the intro, you have the body, all the contents, okay? And at the end of the day, you summarize everything that you have already answered from the bullets in the last bullet. Okay, alright? Okay. Now, and the last question, the last part of paper 2, students are given actually for this part 3 options of question. So in extended writing, there are actually 4 types of writing. One is article, second is a report, third is a review, and the fourth one is a story. So if you were to look at part 3 here, part 3, they would tell you what they want the students to write from the last instruction here. So students are supposedly to write 250 words. My advice to students, part 2 and part 3, please don't count the number of words because that one will take a lot of time. You can just see how you go about when you are doing writing. If you were to write 200 to 250 words, it's like actually 1.5 page or not more than that. If you were to write more, then you are exceeding 300%. Okay? Alright. In a review, if you look at part 3 is a little bit different compared to part 2 because part 3 is more about an extended writing, and when in extended writing, students are actually required to write more by giving a little bit more example compared to guided writing. Okay, because you want to reach to 250. This is the maximum. If you want to write more, there's more. That's not a problem. Okay, there's no penalizing of marks if you do so. So, but for extended writing, students are not given the situation anymore. They are given a task of what they're supposed to do straight to the point. Here, students are given an advertisement online. Okay, and this advertisement requires students to give their opinion on what was the latest action film that they have watched lately, previously, the latest one. And students are supposedly to write a review. So there are many kinds of reviews. There are reviews about books, there are reviews about restaurants, there are reviews about food, many kinds of reviews. But if the students were to answer reviews about film, then it's actually quite something common because I think everyone watches films. So in this particular question, students are given 3 questions as well. What is the film about? Meaning they're asking for the title. Okay, who are the main characters? People who are in the movie, and would you recommend the film to others? Is it good? Is it not? If it's not, you feel that it is not suitable for children, then you put the sentence there. If you were to ask me, teacher, is it wrong that we say that this film is not recommended to be watched by children below 12 because it contains a lot of violence? Fine, it's normal. Because why? If this is an action film, then definitely there will be violence there. Okay, so tenses to use, you can use both present and past tense. Present means you are talking the reason why you have liked watching action movies, why so, and relate to the action movie that you have watched previously. Okay, you identify the audience should be the reader. what you have to understand is that when you write a review, you are actually telling me and telling others that this movie is something to be watched, should be watched. You should go and see it for yourself. It creates a motivation for us to go and find out about this movie. You cannot tell everything about it in your essay, but you can actually give some encouragement. You can push us to a point where, oh, we are really interested in watching. Okay, this is a review, right? Okay, now you have to understand when you are writing a review, you are providing information and analysis. Providing information and analysis, we are talking about who are the producers. Analysis would be more on of the characters, the actors chosen for the film. You are persuading us to go and watch. You're also giving an opinion as well. At times, there is a judgment in the sense where you should not be watching this because of why. So there's a reason to do so. So if you were to review of a movie, TV program, book, place, product, service, and these are the types of could be a positive review or negative. It depends on the question. If you take this particular question as something positive, then it should be something motivating. It should be something which is persuading us. Okay, should be written in present tense or past tense depending on the context. Like I said, that you watched recently, lately, meaning you're talking about past tense context. But if you were to encourage us to watch, persuade us to watch, then it becomes a present tense context. Okay. All right. So here I give you some tips on how to start your review, a general information summary or synopsis. That it is quite similar to reviewing a book, okay, but for this particular question, just a very brief summary of what you actually understood with the movie that you have watched. Okay, and then when you talk about body of paragraphs, what you like or you dislike about the movie, then provide reasons. So probably there's one thing that you like, there's another thing that you don't like. So you can do one paragraph with reasons, and opinion will be the fourth paragraph. So the fifth paragraph, you're talking about you restate back your opinion. Do you encourage us to watch? Okay, that is a review. Remember that, yeah? Okay. See, that's how you do it. Okay, all right. Now, second question. The second question is what an article. Okay, article. So for this particular article, we are talking about cyber magazines. You have to provide us with your favorite e-sport magazine. You're also talking about, are you alone or a team player? And where do you see yourself in the future of the sports? So the team player here, or alone team player, it relates to the e-sports that you have mentioned. Okay, where do you see yourself in the future of e-sports? If you are an e-sport person, definitely you can write this. E-sport person can be a, students who like to play PUBG, something like that. Then you're talking about this. But if you're not very familiar with e-sports, therefore I don't suggest that you write this question. Use this question. Okay, and when you are writing an article, please understand that when this is to inform us, at the same time is to advise us, at the same time is also to provide information where there's a comparing and contrasting will be happening. So if for this particular article, you're talking probably the second paragraph would be something that is of new information. Why do you like to play certain games and so forth? How does it build your characteristics? How does it build your personality? And then when you go into your third paragraph, you're talking about team player. Do you like to play alone, or you like to play in groups or in pairs, for example? Okay, and do you see that one fine day you become a good e-sports person? Or do you think you can make money, you can generate your income from here? Okay, alright, that's what you need. And the same thing, the same context as well. No worries, we will get all this later in the slides here. So for an article, you're supposedly to write a suitable title. So what would the title be? Favorite esports title of your article. Because if you look at these three questions, it is all about esports, not for Cyber Magazine. Cyber Magazine is the magazine that you are writing for. Okay. Now, write the author's name. Right below the title of this report will be your name as the writer. Okay, just write your full name. Then introduction, this one will be your second paragraph. To catch users' attention, to give background of the topic, to present this statement or the main idea of the article. So in this second paragraph, what you need to do is you have to mention about your favorite esports. What is your esports game that you really like? Okay, body, at least 3 main points, provide supporting details or examples for each point, connect ideas using coincidences. Now, at least 3 points when you talk about are you a lone or team player. If you say that you are a lone player, why you do not like to work, you think that you can work better alone. You are able to find solutions better when you are alone. But if you work as a team player, what else does it help you build in you? You become tolerant, you become self-disciplined. Okay, all right. And conclusion, reinstate or restate back the point. So at the last end here, you probably can say that probably in 10 years time you will be a professional esports person. Who knows? Okay. Okay. So the same thing I do with my students in class. I make them brainstorm. An article is easier to brainstorm because an article requires certain things that you should have when you are informing people. Okay, you can just use this way of brainstorm. Alright, and the last one is a story. So students, in SPM paper, for paper 2, story has never been scraped out from extended writing. So in part 3, extended writing, there will always be one story given to students other than review, article, or report. Story will not be scraped off. So you have actually you have the option of writing a story all the time. Yeah? So for this particular question, this is a descriptive essay. Okay, descriptive essay because you are giving the title, Our Little Secret. And in the bullet itself, it's already mentioned the description of the secret. Why must it be a secret? So descriptive essay requires students to be very, very detailed with their expression, very detailed with their description. So this is actually testing you on your vocabulary. Okay. So when I say very specific means you must use descriptive words. Interesting or not? When you describe the secret, is it something interesting? Is it something that you are looking forward to? Involves who? You, someone that you know, someone that you do not know, someone that you like. When was this? Today? Last week? 2 weeks ago? 2 days ago? Where did it happen? School, outside of the school, at the bus stop. Secret. I think everyone has their own secret. Agree? And reason for it to be a secret. Sometimes a secret can be a good secret. Sometimes a secret can be a bad secret. So if it's a bad secret, who will be affected? Affected here means you're talking about their feelings, their emotion. What would happen to that particular person if the secret is to be blurted out to people? Feeling, do they feel sad? Do they feel happy? Do they feel embarrassed? Okay, and as a person, the second person in the story that you are actually writing here. The first point of view is from you actually. You see and hear the secret, what kind of solution that you can provide to help if you feel that the secret is something very destructive. Okay, so the story has to be there's ups and downs, interesting, opening. It has to be, when you talk about secret, it has to be really, really secret. Something that you try as much as you can not to tell others. Okay, right? Okay, so these are some of my notes that I provide with this time of around, which is actually more detailed. Yeah? Okay. So I will also give you some notes when you were to use WH questions to build points from the first paragraph to the end paragraph. What, when, where, who, how, and why. The WH question and H question. When you talk about sensory details to portray emotions, sight, touch, hear, smell, taste. If this is about secret, you might use a lot of emotions of sight. You can see the person, how they change the person's perspective towards others. In form of hear, when you hear something bad about another person, how would your perception towards that person later in future? Okay. And then here you talk about feeling to portray emotion, happy, worried, sad, disappointed, and so forth. So there are many actually others, but this is just a few that I would like to share. Okay. Alright. So when we mark essay for story, so these are the things that we are looking for. Okay, grammar. When your teacher mark your essay for story, especially, remember this. This is what I do with my students as well. Grammar. Is it past tense or is it present tense? How the students actually can mix the story up. Okay, mixture of it. Vocabulary, words that you use to describe. Sentence structure, how you put it. Is the sentence structure interesting or not? Is it engaging or not? Punctuation, when you use exclamation mark, when you use question mark. Spelling has to be accurate. The tone, is the tone, is it a sad tone? Is it something dramatic tone? Does it sound disappointment? Okay, for example, and the style of writing. Your style of writing, everyone differs. Everyone has a different way of style. So when they write, sometimes the style of they themselves would be interrelated to the story that they are writing. Okay, so here also I give you some notes that you can actually refer to when you are describing a scene, when you are describing a place. Yeah? And this is also other notes that I have provided you with, some of it. Okay? When you describe a person, this is what actually you have to do. These are the things that you need to mention. Okay, alright. See all those kind of sentences of words that you can actually use. Okay, I think that's all that I can share with you today. So I hope that this session is very, very fruitful and meaningful to each and every one of you. So if there is any question, I think we might come up with an inbox so that you can actually ask me what are the things that you actually are looking forward to ask, that you are still having some issues in understanding. Okay, so thank you again so much for bearing with me today. Take care, and I wish you all the best in the examination. Bye.